guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, elementary, middle, and high school. If you are not subscribed, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you're notified of all of my future videos. Today is Sunday, and I've gotten a couple of emails lately from some of you who have wanted to see how I plan my weeks. Now, I have shared how I plan my homeschool weeks in the past, and I can leave some of those links in the description box for you, but I have not really done like a top-down plan with me for the week. I don't work off of actual lessons. None of the curriculum that I have says lesson 27, lesson 28, lesson 29. It's kind of just books that need to be separated into manageable chunks and then discussed, and questions, especially for my older two. Lucy, we do use Sunlight curriculum. I have curriculum choice videos. I have a whole planning playlist for this year. But I don't have a lot of day 27 or day 28, etc. The only thing that I do have that with, I think, is Emma and Jack's math, teaching textbooks. It does say, lesson whatever. And then Emma's Spanish too, she also has like day 1, day 2, but there's 180 lessons and we double up on some days. So every week I sit down on Sunday and I figure out where we're going to be outside of the house for the week, because our schedule is quite busy, especially in the fall. Right now, Emma is doing cross country, and she also did join the high school band, which we weren't planning. So yes, every week is different because they have block scheduling, and depending on what our other activities are outside of the house, I change our weekly school load based on that. So I'm going to turn the camera around and do a top down of how I plan our weeks. I don't know what we have going on this week. I have to sit down and go through everything. It will take me longer doing it this way with you. Usually it takes me maybe 30 minutes total to get my bearings and get everything written down, and then it does usually take me another 10 or 15 minutes to write out my kids' lists for the week, which I always do. Our weeks move much smoother if I have a list for them at the beginning of the week. So let's get into it. So the first thing that I do is very simple. I just write the kids' names up at the top. So we have Emma has 2 columns, Jack has 1 column, and Lucy has 1 column. And then what I have done in the past is I have had Emma, Jack, Lucy, and then history, science, ELA, which is Brave Writer type stuff that we do kind of together as a family. However, we're not really doing anything together this year. I mean, some years we do a lot more together. This year is not one of them. And we have had some definite growing pains this year. You can watch any of my homeschool update videos if you are interested in seeing any of that stuff. So I do have my color coding, which is the same every year. This is Emma, blue is Jack. This one is for Lucy, which is actually pretty close to this color. I used to use this pink color, but it was so light, I couldn't see it very well, so I changed it, which is okay. And then purple is everybody, green is me, if I have to make any special notes. The first thing that I do when I plan out my homeschool week is I think about what we have going on for the week. I know that Emma has cross country every day this week, but I don't know the times yet. I should get that tomorrow because it does change depending on the week, which is fine. I know that she has cross country at some point in the afternoon. I'm just not sure when. Tuesday, Emma also has band at 11. And then Thursday, she has an orthodontist appointment. So I do this so that we know how much time we're going to be outside of the house so that I do not plan a bunch of stuff during the day that we will not finish. For example, on Tuesday, if Emma has band at 11 and we have to leave, before that to get her there on time, I need to make sure that we're ready to go and we have her music and her saxophone and everybody is in the car. It's not too far to drop her off, which is good. But it doesn't leave me a whole lot of time in the morning to get work done. I try and have her do Spanish and math and reading before she leaves. Some weeks that works, and some weeks she has more reading, or it's more complicated, or it's a longer Spanish lesson, or she has a test. So it really depends on the week, what is going on. So this week she does have a Spanish test on Monday, I believe. But I'm also going to have her do a second lesson, and we do double up on some of the Spanish lessons each week. Am I going to do that today, or am I going to do that Wednesday, Thursday? I'm not sure. So when I'm going through this, I do also log into some of the online things that the kids use, teaching textbooks, and BJU Press, the Homeschool Hub, which is what Emma uses for Spanish. So I just go in and check and see where she is for that stuff. It makes it easier. I do print out the tests and the quizzes, and she does them on paper instead of on the computer. So I do grade those. It's not self-graded. Like if she took it on the computer, it would be self-graded. Okay, so I'm going to have her also do day 51. Now, I know that I said in the intro that I don't do a ton of this is the day that we're working on. I do that some for Spanish and math, and that's about it for that. Yes, so that is Spanish, and then teaching textbooks. Let's see where we're at. Lesson 4. We started math much later this year for Emma because there's only 125 lessons, I think, so we didn't need to start right in July. I also have my binder that has all of our information in it that I will be going through to help figure out what we have ahead of us, what I need to write down. I need to make some space on the desk for it. All right, so Emma is starting a new book this week, The Ramsey Scallop, but I think I am going to read it aloud because I miss reading with her, and she really wants to move on to Pride and Prejudice, which is the book that comes after this book in her language arts schedule for level 230 from Sunlight. It's classical literature. So I think what I'm going to do is read this to her. Yes, I know she is in high school, but it is a lot of fun. We're also reading Lord of the Rings right now, which these books my kids are obviously capable of reading on their own, but we do it together as a family. It's something that we all enjoy, and I think it's important. We don't do a lot of family subjects, but reading aloud is one thing that we do a lot of. And The Ramsey Scallop is actually a really short book. I think that she was only going to be reading it for a couple of weeks anyways, so I will probably drag it out a little bit longer, and she will still do some of the papers associated with it, although we are also working on Nanowrimo, which I didn't write down. So I think this book is really interesting because it has like a page and then it has a page of notes. And so it is like a really thick volume, and I'm not sure how they want her to go through reading the notes. This is kind of similar to The 12th Night, which she read last week. It had like a page of the original play, and then it had like a page of like a more updated English language version. So I don't know if she will just want to read through the book. She has read this multiple times, many times over many years. She has been reading this, and I've read it to her, and she's listened to it on audio, so she really knows the story. So it might be interesting for her to read some of these notes as she's going through. Yes. All right, so Pride and Prejudice, chapter 1 through 6. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do this on Friday. She is supposed to be writing a persuasive essay this week. All right. So let's see. So Sunlight schedules their creative writing assignments to be due on the Thursday, and then they have an optional Friday, like free write or something a little bit easier. I tend to have them have their final due on Thursday, but if it's a longer paper, I will give them until Friday, or if it's something that they are enjoying writing, I'll give them until Friday, or if they're struggling with it, I will give them until Friday, but it just gives us a little bit extra time. I could say that it's due on Friday, but for my kids, it's better for me to say it's due on Thursday, and then if it gets to Thursday and they still need help, I can say, okay, well, let's work on it together, and then have the final be due on Friday. All right, then let's see. We are starting Module 3 for biology. And we have not found a good rhythm with biology yet. It is definitely a struggle to get through all of the content. We're using the Apologia version 3 biology. Whoops, spell it correctly. And it's a lot. It is a lot of vocab. It is a lot of text to go through. The questions are actually not that bad. But yes, do you see I have it written every single day? And this is mainly because if I try and schedule it on 3 days, it's way too much for her to get through in a week. This is a 32-week course. That's how it's scheduled. But I think we might end up doing this much later into the year than the rest of our work. We may not finish this until June or July, just because it is such a big course. Labs, let me see. This is the student notebook that goes with this. And they have 2 weeks for each module. And let me tell you, that is not enough time. We've been taking about 3 weeks to get through each module. 108. Then constitutional literacy. Whoops, not even spelling things correctly today. Episode 2, all week. She needs to finish the questions. Okay, and then the other thing that she has is there are other things that she does every day that I just don't schedule. Things like written narration, things like her wordly wise for vocabulary. She also does journaling. She also does animation and works through some of her animation courses. But this is generally what I schedule out for her. The other stuff she is expected to do: World Watch, current events. She has current events reports 3 times a week that she has to give to me. I don't schedule any of that stuff. I just let her do it on her own time. But this is the stuff that I schedule out for her. Yes, so it's a lot. I feel like it's quite a bit of work that she is getting through each week. I think that things are going well. It is a little bit challenging. For Jack, it's a little bit less, and that makes him a happier guy. All right, first we need to get, so he is doing Language Arts H for his English and Language Arts. What is he reading right now, though? So he is reading Snow Treasure right now, and he is liking it. He's almost done with this book, though. So, actually, my writing is not all that nice on a normal day, so I need to fold this over so that it looks a little bit better. So he's almost done with this. 24 through 27. And then he will choose his next book. I have been letting him choose the books because if you watched any of my recent updates, you will know that he has not enjoyed any of the books that I chose for him, like in July and August, which were books like The King's Fifth, Lost on a Mountain in Maine, Sign of the Beaver he didn't like. Yes, so I will have him pick a new book on Tuesday for the rest of the week, and then I schedule it out. He writes a narration every time he reads the book, and we go over some questions, some comprehension questions, if they are in the language arts, or we just discuss it and talk about what he has read. Yes, that's generally what we do. He does mechanics on the first day of the week, but we are not doing the creative expression, the creative writing part of the language arts right now because we are doing prep for Nanowrimo. So we are working through the Nanowrimo workbooks as part of our language arts right up until November, and then we will transition into writing our novels every day in the month of November. I do have a video about Nanowrimo, and I also have a vlog about how we are starting our Nanowrimo prep this year, which is something new we have not done in the past. Usually we just come up with some ideas and then start writing on November 1st, but this year we are using the workbook and some of the lessons that they have, so that will also be part of his language arts for the week, but I'm not going to schedule it here because we do NaNoWriMo prep together. So for history, he is doing main studies, and I need to check on what pages he is on. So he needs to finish the entertainers section and governors section. This is the book that we use. It's main studies workbook. Each week he works on a couple of pages and we go through and do some extra research. Some of the questions are a little bit more challenging to find, and so he and I have to work together to research that stuff because he's in 7th grade and he hasn't done an extensive amount of research and digging, and some of the things we have to actually go to the library to find. Google is not always an easy thing to use when you're looking for specific information because of the algorithm. They want to show you what they think that you want to see instead of what you actually want to see. But then the rest of the week we will be doing inventors and entrepreneurs. I assign him a couple of pages at the beginning of the week, and then he will work on it for the full week. He just kind of does a little bit each day. And then, actually, I probably should have 2 columns, but that's okay. So for science, he is still working on Science Unlocked, and he is really enjoying Science Unlocked. So I'm super glad that I got those boxes or unit studies, or I'm not really sure what we want to call it, but he is really enjoying it, and I am really enjoying that he's enjoying it. And it's easy for me. He's able to go through the experiments pretty much on his own, which has been really nice. Okay, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I don't have a ton listed because, like I said, main studies will also be on these 3 days, but he works at his own pace to get through that information. And then Fridays are when we will sit down and go through whatever information he cannot find on his own. We did not do these 2 sections last Friday because it was a crazy busy day. There was a pep rally, there was band, there was a cross-country race, there was a football game that Emma had to play at, so we didn't get as much work done on Friday as we should have. So we need to carry over some of that information to Monday. I will not have his book until he chooses it. And then we don't do science for Jack on Friday. We just do it 4 days a week. So I think that is about everything. I do not schedule out the same for Emma. I don't schedule out Jack's extracurricular stuff that he does mainly on his own. This is things like coding. It is things like video editing and in Adobe, working in Adobe. Those types of things he chooses to do on his own, and I do not have to schedule those for him. We do check in periodically just so I know what everybody is doing for their extra subjects that they are interested in. But my main focus is on the core classes. So that is what I tend to plan out here. Sometimes I will also plan out some art or music, if there's a particular like watercolor or chalk pastel class that I think that they would enjoy, or if there's a documentary or something that I want everybody to watch, I will write it down. I don't have anything this week for that, so it may look light here, but it will get filled up on Tuesday when he decides on his next book. Now, Lucy is a little bit easier to plan for because we kind of just go to the next thing. So for history, we are doing Story of the World. So we will just read a story from Story of the World and discuss it. It's pretty basic. So we will do that Monday through Thursday. She will read 1 Bible story each day, just whatever the next Bible story is in her children's Bible. That is what her reader is at the moment. She does also read a book of her choosing at night before bed. I don't assign her any of that. She does it on her own because she wants to stay up later. So she will read in the evenings, and then, whoops, it's hard to write and talk at the same time, I've decided. 1 Bible story, so a Bible story every day. If she reads to herself, then she tells me what the story was about, or she will read it aloud to me. It just depends on the day and how cooperative she is being. I know that she understands the stories. I know that she comprehends the stories. Sometimes her pronunciation of the different Bible names can be a little challenging. Because she's heard a lot of the Bible stories already, Usually she can figure it out, but sometimes she has a little bit of trouble, and that's when I try and have her read a little bit more aloud to me. We are finishing up Robin Hood this week. I actually think we only have 3 chapters. And then we are starting Sir Lancelot. Then she will do week 10 copywork 1, then handwriting without tears will just be the next page, handwriting without tears, the next page, and then week 10 copywork 2. Now math, we are in Singapore 2A, and she is moving a little bit slower than I expected her to be. And I think it's just taking a little bit longer to get through the work. It's 2-3 digit addition and subtraction, and she is borrowing and carrying and just learning how to do that. So I'm trying to give her a little bit more time. Also, the exercises are kind of long. Like there's a lot of problems to do. So, but it is good practice for her. So typically I will try and be done with the whole book by the time we break for our winter break. I'm not sure if we will or not this time, and that's totally fine. I am working at Lucy's pace. She can do the work, but she does get distracted very easily and does not want to sit and do math for long periods of time. Emma and Jack were really good about math up until book 4A, and then they started to struggle a little bit more. But before that, they didn't really have any trouble getting through the work. Lucy has a little bit more trouble concentrating for long periods of time on math. Even though she understands it, she doesn't want to sit there and do it for that long, which is totally fine. So we are working at her pace, and we will see how it goes as we get closer to winter break, which is in just a couple of months. For science, we are doing level B science. Let's see what we have going on. So I do have the whole science level B, and we don't really use the worksheets for the science in the earlier grades. We do in the later grades, but not in the earlier grades. My kids have never really been like a huge fan of filling out the information. So I do go over the information with them, but we just choose a book and kind of go through the whole book, and that's what we do. So we are going through this Usborne World of Animals right now, and it's, I like that it's the different continents, and we can just kind of pick and choose what we want to go through. So we just choose a few different stories to read throughout the week and then talk about them. And sometimes I will go on Curiosity Stream and see if I can find like a little video or something in that area that she can watch, because she does enjoy that. Okay, and then Nanowrimo is the last thing. So this week for Nanowrimo, we're going to be doing creating interesting characters. We have gone through coming up with an idea for the book. Both Emma and Jack already have ideas that they have come up with on their own before we even started this Nanowrimo prep, because it is something that they look forward to every year. Writing the story, so that's really good. But we are still going through this workbook, and Lucy I don't think has an idea yet. But let me see. Yeah, so we're just going to be going through the Creating Interesting Characters section of the workbook. This is the middle and high school workbook that Emma and Jack are both working through. Emma is high school, Jack is middle school. Lucy and I are just kind of going through, and she's giving me character names, I'm writing them on note cards, and we're just kind of filing them away, setting ideas, that kind of stuff, just so that she has some extra information to pull from when we start writing in November. So this is good because it does go through flat and complex characters, protagonist, antagonist, gives you some different ideas. And then there are character questionnaires. So they will complete the questionnaire for each of their important characters, starting with the protagonist. They will have like a notebook that they will write all of this information down in, because obviously there's not enough room here to write everything. And then supporting characters, antagonists, bonus questions. So this is what we will be working through this week, and they get to kind of go through as they want all week. We will sit down on Monday and I will read through everything with them, which is what we did last week as well. So what I am just writing down is creating interesting characters and then questionnaires. And these will be done all week. I will go through the information and the questionnaire questions with them and give them some ideas, and then we will probably write down some names of characters on Monday, and then we will do the questionnaires starting on Tuesday. Although Tuesday is going to be a busy day because Emma has band. Well, that's okay. So we will work on the questionnaires and the additional questions for the rest of the week. I don't need to write that down. And then for over here, we will have Brave Writer, and I am reading Lord of the Rings, and I am reading, this will be all week, and then I'm also reading Chamber of Secrets, and what else am I doing? I need to start going through help for high school with Emma. This will be all week as well. I don't need to write it every day, although I could if I wanted to check it off, but I don't need to. So this is a week at a glance, I guess, for my kids. Obviously, there are some days that it's a little bit lighter. Some of the things I just write once, even though I expect the kids to work on it all week. There will still be time for us to work on some interest-led things. A lot of this content for Emma takes place in the morning before lunch, and then yes, it's a lot more for Emma than Jack and Lucy, even though Lucy seems to have more listed than Jack. Jack's obviously is not completely filled out because I need to figure out what else he is going to be reading for the week ahead. So this is our week as I know it right now. I still need to write some other information in once I have the cross-country schedule, and if anything else comes up, I will also write that down. But yeah, so this is our homeschool planning for the week of September 26th. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have questions for me, please leave them in the comments, or you can email me. My contact form is always in the description box. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.